The man who invented the lobotomy won a Nobel Prize. The man who invented calculus believed he was being hunted by spirits. The woman who reshaped modern poetry stuck her head in an oven. Why does so many of the world's greatest minds go mad? This isn't just a list, it's a pattern. From Van Gogh to Tesla, from Sylvia Plath to Newton, we're about to explore the terrifying, beautiful link between brilliance and breakdown. Every genius who went insane, and why. Vincent van Gogh. He painted Starry Night while locked in a mental asylum. Vincent van Gogh, now one of the most loved artists of all time, sold only one painting while alive. He heard voices, had violent seizures, cut off his own ear, and died by suicide at 37. Modern psychologists believe he had a mix of bipolar disorder, epilepsy, and perhaps even lead poisoning from his paints. His genius was his sensitivity, his madness, the price he paid for it. Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton discovered the laws of motion, gravity, and calculus before he turned 25. But in his later years, Newton went off the rails. He became obsessed with alchemy, biblical prophecy, and cryptic codes hidden in ancient texts. He barely ate, slept 2 hours a night, believed the end of the world could be calculated. In 1693, he suffered a complete mental collapse, likely brought on by mercury poisoning from his lab experiments. The mind that decoded the universe couldn't protect itself from unraveling. Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla wanted to give the world free energy. Instead, the world called him crazy. He invented alternating current, the radio, even early wireless technology. But Tesla's mind never rested. He had severe OCD, hated touching hair, and avoided women entirely. He claimed to have fallen in love with a pigeon. He died broken alone in a New York hotel, whispering to ghosts of unfinished ideas. Some say he was eccentric, others say he was simply ahead of his time. Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath didn't just write poetry. She performed surgery on her soul in front of the world. Her work radiated insight, beauty, and unbearable pain. She battled depression for most of her life, was hospitalized, received electroshock therapy, and documented every moment of her spiral. In 1963, she placed a towel under the door, turned on the gas, and ended her life. She left behind The Bell Jar, a masterpiece of mental clarity through madness. She didn't write because she was broken. She wrote because no one else would explain what that brokenness felt like. And there was John Nash. You've seen A Beautiful Mind, but the truth is stranger. John Nash revolutionized economics with his theories. Then, the voices started. He believed he was being watched by aliens, thought he was the Messiah, refused medication. For decades, he lived in a swirl of paranoid delusion. But he clawed his way back, slowly regaining control through sheer will. In 1994, he stood before the world to accept the Nobel Prize. His speech, calm, clear, genius tempered by madness. Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer was the greatest chess player who ever lived. He could see 20 moves ahead, but off the board, the world was a different game. As he rose to fame, so did his paranoia. He became reclusive, anti-Semitic, erratic, accused the U.S. of mind control. By the end, he lived in exile in Iceland, surrounded by books, rage, and silence. His genius thrived in order, but the world doesn't follow rules. Kurt Gödel. Kurt Gödel proved that even in math, not everything can be explained. His incompleteness theorem shook the foundations of logic. But Gödel began to believe that people were poisoning his food. He trusted only his wife to cook. When she was hospitalized, he refused to eat. Gödel starved himself to death, it weighing only 65 pounds when he died. The man who saw the limits of logic was consumed by fear. Different centuries, different geniuses, but the same tragic pattern. A brilliant mind turns inward. A mind that digs deeper than most would dare, and sometimes never makes it back. Is madness the cost of genius, or just its shadow? Research shows that highly creative people score higher on traits linked to mental illness. Bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, obsessive thinking. One study found that artists and scientists were more likely to have close relatives with schizophrenia. It's not that genius causes madness, but both may spring from the same soil, a brain that refuses to settle for ordinary. We love their ideas, their paintings, their breakthroughs. But behind every masterpiece was a person struggling to survive their own mind. Maybe the real question isn't, why do geniuses go insane? Maybe it's, how many never made it far enough to be called geniuses? This was just a glimpse of the minds that shaped our world and lost themselves in the process.